and welcome back to Saber Outdoors. And my name, of course, is Mark Alexander, your wonderful host. And guys, today we are in the woods, which means we are not fishing today. Today we are comparing a good machete, which, let's be honest, this is probably a parang, but guys, functional, not professional. But we're going to compare that to a brush hook. So guys, a brush hook is meant for brush. What a shock. But you can take this and you put it along the tree and work your tree down with this hook. So that way when you go to do your thing, this hook will catch your work and you'll be able to pull your stuff down. Now, this particular brush hook is quite interesting. So look at that back. This does not have a straight back on it like this does. This brush hook actually has a T-back on it. Now guys, this T-back I think will give it more strength and more rigidity than the machete that is below me. But guys, I am very curious which one of these would be better to have when I'm doing this kind of stuff, you know, camping, bushcrafting, what have you like that. You know, and that time it tried to fall off on me. Would it be better to have this, which is a more traditional, like when you think of jungle stuff, you think of having a machete, parang, you have something like this and not something like this. Guys, I will say this is a lot heavier and it does not have the length of blade that this does. Like I say, I think that this is going to be an interesting test to see the differences, the similarities between the two. Let's get to our first test. Uno momento while I set the camera up. All right, first test that we're going to do, we're just going to take this little limb and we're going to see how it does when we set it down on something and we chop down on it. Guys, I'm going to count how many times it takes for me to get through. I have not sharpened this or the other. These are whatever the edges that came on them is what came on them. So we're just going to take, okay, one didn't do it, two. Two seems to be the norm with the machete. Before we get into really small stuff, let's try our bill hook. I'm afraid that this hook, I'm going to have to overstrike a little bit and it's going to be awkward chopping against a block. But we're going to try it out anyway. So, okay, maybe this will be just fine. Wow, that is really good. Now I can't chop back here because if I do, the hook buries in and I get nothing. So I do have to modify, but it works great. So guys, I would say this is probably my favorite, but I do have to modify my technique to be able to do it. Because if I just do it like that, this limb can just sit underneath here and nothing happens. But guys, let's get to our next test. All right, guys, we got this a little bit bigger piece of wood. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hold my piece of wood and I'm gonna give it 10 shots and see how deep this will go. This is thick enough that I think this will be a good, fair test that neither of these will get through. But guys, we're gonna avoid this knot. We're gonna hit right here, just above that knot. So we've got reasonable wood. So I'm just gonna give it 10 shots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we got some reasonable damage on that. Now I'm gonna grab my other and we're gonna put that right below it and we're gonna see what kind of damage we get from it. All right, so we have our hook ready to do hook things. And guys, we're gonna just hit it right below this knot here so that we have reasonably the same kind of wood to work with. So we're just gonna give it 10 shots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A world of difference. A world of difference between one and the other. Hook works, and hook wins this particular round. Hey guys, I don't mean to break into your video, but I wanted to let you know that now Saber Outdoors has merch available for you the people out there. We have shirts, we have hoodies, we have sweatshirts, we have backpacks. We have an alternative design to this one that is just black and white. But guys, let's go ahead and get back to the adventure. All right, guys, so we had a little bit of rain, so I had to retreat into my pickup for a little while. But guys, we are going to take and we're going to do a splitting test. Let me get you a little bit further up there. But guys, we're going to put this down right here on this piece of wood, and we're going to take both of our competitors. We're going to start off with our Machete. Now these are not very large, you know, they're probably about the roundness of my wrist. I normally would not take the time to split this, and this would probably be no problem for a hatchet, or definitely not a problem for an axe. But for something like this is going to be a pretty good test on how much penetration I get. And also, how would these be to split something to camp with or bushcraft with? But guys, we're going to take a good nice whack at this, and I've got an identical piece, almost same piece of wood and everything for the next test. But guys, let's, okay, reasonable. Not bad. Definitely not as easy as a hatchet, but look on the inside. Beautifully clean stuff in there. So guys, we're not going to waste this. We're going to use it for something. But I'm going to need to split it one more time for that secondary use. So didn't have to swing nearly as hard for that. But guys, we have our pieces for later, and later means not right now. If I can get that bug out of my face. We're going to use these later on to test something different. All right, we've got our piece right here, ready to go. Let's see if I do this in fewer whacks. Now, I wonder if that T-back on this is going to give me problem, or if it's going to wedge me out a lot easier. Won't know until we try it, though. Now, I'm not off the top of my head sure, but that felt easier and felt like it was fewer strikes. I will put somewhere on the screen how many strikes that was, because I'm not keeping track at the moment. But let's see if we can split this again. Okay, cool. So guys, we got our pieces for our test later on, but for right now, let's move to our next test. Our next test involves this piece of wood. What we're gonna do, we're gonna try and put a point on this piece of wood, because bushcrafting, you have to do that in order to stab it in the ground, or sometimes do other things with it. But guys, all I'm going to do, I'm going to make a point on this, then I'm going to take my saw and I'm going to go chop, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other, so I have as A-B a test as possible. But guys, let's get to it. It wants to deflect bad. That one got a good bite. I broke it off. Well, guys, I'm having to hit it so hard that I'm breaking instead of cutting. So, not a very good test for the Machete. But, guys, let's see if the hook does any better. Alright, guys, fresh sawn and ready to go. Now, I wonder if while I'm working, if this point is going to get in my way. But we won't know until I actually start working. So, let's actually start it and see if I get into a trouble or if I'm doing good. I'm going to try and work this hook to my advantage, though. Feels good. Cuts good. Got a knot here. Yep, I did the same thing. I broke it off. So, guys, I am running into this hook getting in my way. So while this is a superior cutter, This is not a superior shaping tool because this hook is constantly getting in my way, and I'm not making it into my material as much as I'm making it into my stump. But guys, we're gonna have to give it to the Machete for that one. But let's go to our next and final test. All right, so for our final test, you'll notice I am on this other side. I'm going to bury this in, and I'm gonna take the quarter piece that I cut earlier. Now, everything right now is sopping wet, but this inside is not. So if I wanted to start a fire, I would need to make shavings. So let's see what kind of shavings I can get out of this machete. And I will admit, that is pretty poor. Poor. Guys, this machete is dull. But guys, let's give it one more try. We're just gonna hook it in there like that there. Let's try on that outside wood. Maybe it'll be better. No, it's still pretty miserably bad. So guys, machete, fail. And it's a fail because it's dull, not because it's a bad machete. But guys, let's grab up our other competitor and let's see how it does with this test. All right, we got her stuck in there. Let's see how she does. Oh. Infinitely better. Look at that. Look at that. Nice working edge. Now, I was afraid this hook would not stick well enough to do this, but it's fine. It does not care a bit. I keep getting these bugs in my ear. But guys, that's definitely a win for the hook. So guys, let's stand up, sit down, and talk about this so that we can get a final summation to this. All right, so let's talk about our two competitors. So the machete. The machete is dull, and that hindered it some for some of these tests. But the machete, I will say, does not have the weight that this does. And that may be because of that T-back. Maybe it carries more weight. And this is a lot more rigid. I could take this and flex it pretty easily. This, no chance of flexing it hardly at all. But guys, when we were splitting wood, this felt better. When we were chopping wood sideways through the tree, this cut better. I will admit, this would do better on something that's freestanding than something on a block, because when we got to the carving section of this particular video, when I was carving with this, the dullness kept being a problem, but with this, the hook was the problem. Because when I would go to make my swing, my hook would dig into my stump that I'm working against before I'm able to make my cuts with my cutting device, whether that be the my brain just completely went off kilter on that, guys, sorry. But every time I would make a swing with this, the hook would dig into the stump I was working against, rather than this cutting through the work I'm working on. I do say I like the design of this, where the handle's a mite long, but it has these grooves in it, so it's really good and purchasable. But guys, if I were taking one to the woods today, I would pick the bill hook, because while the bill hook has a disadvantage on shaping wood, right now, today, as it stands, this has the advantage as far as doing the work. This is dull and needs to be sharpened, but if I had to pick one, this is the one I would pick for today. And I think that's plenty enough said for all that. I'm going to just put that down. I'm going to put the other down as well. And I'm going to tell you all that, guys, we need you all to subscribe. We need you all to be doing the subscribing. And, guys, also, if you all want these videos early, a membership's only $5. But, guys, Do all the YouTube things. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell notification. If you want to do free 99, subscribe. If you want to give me $5 for a membership, you will get every single video earlier than the rest of the world. But in the meantime, thank you so very much for watching. We'll see you somewhere in the woods or on the water.